I'm thinking about the small guys. I'm thinking about the 98% of the world. That's what Bluewhale stands for. We want to democratize AI. Bluewhale is the first intelligence layer that allows individuals to use their smartphones and contribute data, storage, and computing power so that you can build AI agents, AI applications, smart applications on top of us. Over the last year, we have grown to more than 3 million unique wallets. The engagement is organic. We are looking at 1.1 million to 1.2 million monthly active users.
We all hear about the big centralized networks. What do we need to know about them versus a decentralized version?
The majority of the population is sleeping on the danger, the risks of centralized. One person can decide about how my data is being used. And that's why we want to put the control and power in your own hands. Very clean and transparent, because the information, the access, and the monetary piece flows to you. That's Bluewhale.
When will you know that you've gotten this right?
There will never be a time. And the reason why is that in a fast-paced world where we live in today, you need to be reacting much faster to the market. You need to be good at a lot of things all at the same time. You should always have a North Star that you are following. And if a company can continue to deliver on great products, great technology, great infrastructure, continuously create more impact, and building something that more people are adopting, then they are maybe onto something.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
Hi, it's Brian Rose from London Real. You probably know that we've just recently been re-platformed on YouTube after 25 months completely in the dark. The truth is, I really need your help. What I really need you to do is click on that subscribe button right now, like this video, and maybe even leave a comment or share the link with friends. We're really fighting against an algorithm that's tried to keep us quiet for so long. And the more subscribers we have, the more people watch our content, the better guests we can bring you, the better content, and we can continue transforming lives. We've been doing this for 14 years now. I want to do this for another 14 years, but I really need your help. So click on that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, share this, and we're going to continue to bring you more and more great content. Thank you. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Han Jin, the entrepreneur, technologist, and AI visionary. You are the founder and CEO of Bluwhale, a decentralized artificial intelligence platform designed to empower individuals by transforming their digital footprints into valuable assets, using wallet insights and on-chain behavior to create a new intelligence layer for Web3. Your mission is to build the smartest, most decentralized finance and intelligence system by turning one's data, device, and digital footprint into productive assets. You were featured in the Forbes 30 Under 30 as one of America's rising stars, and later in Business Journal's 40 Under 40. You believe that AI is one of the most important forces shaping humanity's future, but that personalization, ownership, and decentralization will determine whether it serves us or controls us. Han, welcome to London Real in Dubai.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
It's great to have you here. I want to start by saying that Bluwhale is one of our portfolio companies here at London Real Ventures, the world's first media-powered investment firm, where our mission is to transform the world by investing in cutting-edge Web3 and AI companies while giving our partners marketing exposure across the London Real media platforms and academies. We heighten awareness, create customers, and build communities by leveraging our global audience and extensive network. Han, super excited to be part of this project with you. So let's jump in. What is Bluwhale?
Great question. We think Bluewhale is the first intelligence layer that allows individuals to use their smartphones and contribute data, storage, and computing power so that you can build AI agents, AI applications, smart applications on top of us. We are like a decentralized network that powers the next generation AI to transact and perform on-chain.
Now, we all hear about the big centralized networks, the ChatGPTs and the Groks and some of the other Anthropics. What do we need to know about them versus a decentralized version? Why is that important?
Really great question. So if you look at Grok or ChatGPT, when you're talking to them and they become so smart about you, guess who has the data? It's one entity that controls your data, that absorbs your data, and I don't know how they're using it for.
Right.
I'm not concerned about the privacy or security, but I'm concerned that one person can decide about how my data is being used. Now, if you put that as a decentralized network, which means putting it on a blockchain technology has incredible security, incredible privacy. I'm not concerned about that. But what blockchain allows you to do is own that footprint yourself. So you can control who has access to that information. You can control where the information is being aggregated, and you can control how much you're going to profit from that information yourself.
We've talked a lot about data ownership and, for example, like a Google or a Meta. Some have called it, digital, colonialization, where you kind of give away your data for free and they sell it back to you.
Correct.
Now, browsing history is one thing, but man, the data you share with an AI, as you just alluded to, it's really sensitive. They might know about my moods, my dreams, my finances, my business plans.
100%.
I mean, the things people tell ChatGPT these days, it's probably everything.
Yeah.
I think people, if they weren't concerned about their data being owned by someone else before, I think people are now waking up that this AI data is really sensitive, and they probably better think about owning it or at least having it somewhere on-chain or decentralized, right?
100%. And think about this time, right? Like those ChatGPT models become smarter and smarter with every single day. They know more about you. They become more personable. They also become smarter in extracting more information about you, right? So that means like what you're sharing along the way, you don't even know anymore, or you don't remember what you have said, that is going into this centralized database that one corporation owns. And so, from my perspective, okay, sure, right? If one person owns my information, but I'm not getting anything in return. That's the question we had at Bluwhale. We thought about it when people own your information, monetize your information, and give you a service that is quote unquote free, then we don't know what the long-term impact is going to be. And that's what we want to put the control and power in your own hands, put it on a blockchain, create a aggregation around your information that you allow other enterprises to access. You allow how much it's going to cost for those enterprises to access. And the financial flow of who earns, who gets the capital, who gets the profit, is very clean and transparent, because the information, the access, and the monetary piece flows to you. We as a platform, we at Bluwhale, we only charge like a very small fine line in terms of matching and being able to provide that service. But like Facebook takes 100%.
It's a big difference, right?
That's right.
Talk to me about the provenance of the data as well, because if it's on-chain, then also you can sometimes identify where that quote-unquote intelligence comes from. Whereas, as we know with Google Gemini, you ask for pictures of the founding fathers of America and they come back as African-American because they've gone through some woke algorithm, 100%. And you can never trace that back to where that data came from. Is that another important part about having on-chain data?
Yes, and that's kind of like a lot of the different areas that has been kind of like explored in terms of IP on-chain, or the transparency of what on-chain really means is incredible, right? And just because it's on-chain and maybe it's a public, a public chain, doesn't necessarily mean that everybody can see the information, right? Okay. There's incredible technology on the blockchain which is called ZK that doesn't allow other people to necessarily see the information, even though they are transacting with you or kind of engaging with you. And so being able to understand that that kind of technology in the long term will allow on-chain information to be, hidden, or like opt-in processes where you can actually allow other people to see it, is incredibly important when it comes to transparency and the monetary flow of how the information and how the verification goes, right? Like you mentioned about like verifying how the AI and how the information kind of like responds to you. That will be all possible on-chain.
Talk to me about the proof being in the pudding, because you are seeing some really significant user numbers. You're seeing some massive growth.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious because AI and blockchain, when I mention that to people, some people mention this company or that company or this phenomenon, but it's hard to know who's actually creating value and who's creating a sustainable business model that's going to change the game.
Very true.
And if you ask 10 people in a room, I would say they rarely come up with a company name that is all of those things. So how do you compete in a space that's super noisy? I was at Satoshi Roundtable in January, and whereas the previous year, Han, the theme was building on Bitcoin, which unfortunately didn't really go anywhere. This year was all AI, agents are going to change the world, the agent's going to trade for you. And I went to a bunch of these individual discussions, and a lot of people said behind the scenes, they're like, these agents aren't actually doing it. They're not that smart. It's not necessarily what you think it is. So
that is very true.
That's your world. So tell us what it's like to be in this noisy world versus what you're building.
For sure. I have to be completely frank with you, because we came out of the Web 2 space. In Web 2, when you're building a company, you could be eating ramen and bootstrapping for years and nobody looks at you. In Web 3, everything is so hyped, right? Everything is so noisy. So, and the volatility is crazy, so people are very emotional, less rational. Okay. Now, coming into Web3, the biggest challenge is like cut through the noise, ignore the noise, and being able to focus on what's real. And so one of the biggest problems is like, we don't know if a company is AI because it's a hype, it's a marketing engine, it's a good narrative, right? It's what you can tell, or if it's an executional piece. And for me, to be completely frank, I think decentralized AI, Web3 AI, blockchain, or AI on blockchain is still early. But the thing is, like, what's good about area markets is that 2-3 years from now, we will be there, and we have to start building now. Why we need to start building now is because if we don't start now, then the centralized AI will get stronger, and 3 to 5 years from now, they will be dominating the entire world. That's not what you want. You want to be early, you want to be overlooked for long enough so that you have time to build it up, and then being able to kind of like compete at a level that I believe, like 3-4 years down the road is a good potential for centralized and decentralized AI to kind of like having a playground. Okay. Now, talking about, like what's, how do you filter, how do you, check out like if it's real or not? I think, I always used to say as a founder, because I've been building companies for 12 plus years, it's just a matter of time. With time will tell. Because, hype is something that will come and go, but execution and the struggle of execution can only be proven over time. And if a company can continue to deliver on great products, great technology, great infrastructure, and continuously create more impact on people, on individuals, on enterprises, and building something that more people are adopting, then they are maybe onto something. But I think that's kind of like where I see like Web3 needs to still grow up or mature, which is not everything needs to be overhyped. Not everything needs to take off from day one and have this moonshot. Just because it doesn't take off in the first day doesn't mean you are failing, right? Often the biggest ideas that actually change the world are the ones that people didn't agree on the beginning, and then over time actually prove that that's actually the big impact.
It's almost like if your business model is in the current hype narrative, you better be concerned.
Yeah, and also like what I call like hype wave chasing. That's something that is very common in the space. Like there's a agent narrative. All of a sudden, all the companies are having agents. There's an AI narrative. All of a sudden, like all the companies have some AI somewhere in their narrative, and so over time you will see that a lot of the things will die down. And those short cycles are the ones to avoid, because they will distract you. The shiny stuff will distract you from your path, And I think for young founders, for founders that have not been around for a long time, it's really hard to say no, right? But I always used to say, like, if you have 10 questions and you say 9 times no, then you have maybe a path that you are, chasing down.
Yeah, that's well said. It's and you only get so many of those pivots before your investors and your community give up on you.
Of course.
You might get 1 or 2, but if you're finding the third pivot on the third wave, it's kind of over.
But also, chasing those 3 to 6 months hypes, you can't really build something really,
by the time you get there, it's changed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So you need to hack something together, throw something together. Underneath, it's a card house that falls. So, it's not worth, right?
Talk to me about your growth numbers and where are these people coming from and how are they finding you?
Very good question. So, we launched the consumer side last year during Token 2049.
Yeah, okay.
So it's been about a year.
Wow.
Over the last year, we have grown to more than 3 million unique wallets and users.
That's massive.
And the thing is, like, in Web3, those numbers are more massive than in Web2, right?
Yeah.
But, what's most interesting for us is it's all organic. The engagement is organic. We are looking at 1.1 million to 1.2 million unique monthly active users, like every month, right? And we're looking at, on a daily basis, 120 to 150K of daily active users.
Wow.
So that means, there must be something that makes them come back, makes them want to transact, want to be here, and spending time on you, right? That's ultimately what Bluewhale is focusing on. If we are doing a great job on acquiring users, bringing users, and giving them an incentive to come back, then we are building something real.
How do you find them?
Very good question. I think they find each other. I think, some of the product, what we call product-led growth designs that we brought out of the Web2 world. I feel like Web3 is a lot of guerrilla marketing, which means like pump, pump, pump.
Yeah.
But then when you have guerrilla marketing, the problem is, like, after you pump, the numbers then decrease very drastically.
Right.
When you're creating organic, that means people referring people, talking to people, bringing them in, continuously bring, kind of like them a purpose or reason to continue come back. Then you have a mass, or kind of like this a stepping function, where the next kind of like adoption comes from a tangent of audience that the first audience actually attracted and convinced to come in. And so that's kind of like how we see it, right? Like, it was very organic. People talked about it. People know about it. Today I was at Sui Base Camp, and one of the guys that gave me a swag pack said, like, "Oh, Bluewhale, yeah, of course, I know you guys. Your token, I'm so excited about it. When is it coming?" And that's kind of like, I wasn't expecting to get anybody to talk to me about Bluewhale.
That's when you know you're there, is when the locals...
Oh, we are at the beginning. Like, we are early, but I think, those are the right indications from, to hear from a random person in the UAE to say, like, "Hey, I've heard about Bluewhale. Hey, I'm excited about your token. Hope it goes up."
So talk to me about some of these daily users. You're talking about 120 to 150K.
Yeah.
What are they coming to do on Bluewhale on a daily basis?
So I always used to say, like, if you're designing a product in Web3 versus in Web2, in Web2 you're building kind of like something that is solving a problem, right? A painkiller, as you speak. In Web3, you're designing it as a kind of like a country, like a territory, like an ecosystem that people want to be in. Now, in the country, from a country design perspective, you need to allow people to earn, to spend, and to come back for more, right? To speculate or to. So we have designed our entire platform in a way where they can earn by contributing using their smartphones, right? Like, contribute data, contribute storage, contribute other things.
Is that a DePIN play per se?
That's a DePIN.
Partial DePIN.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a DePIN.
Okay.
The second piece is, like, how do you spend? Right, like, what kind of avenues, like your partners, right? Because we have the enterprise side, right? Where we have now almost 5,000 enterprise accounts that are active,
okay.
Right?
Offering services and
correct.
products.
They have services, assets, financial products, digital, products and services. So that's the spending avenue, right? Okay. Allow them to match with our users, and then have the users spend. Right, and then of course, coming back, speculating, right, like staking, being able to speculate on Bluewhale's token going forward, being able to launch our newest functionality is like launch your profile tokens. What we mean with profile tokens is like we understand that the contribution to actually turn your digital footprint, what we always say, into a financial asset, you actually need to launch an asset.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside I view is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the investment club.
So we allow every profile to have their own token attached one-to-one.
Wow.
Which then also allow other people to invest in that asset and speculate on you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So is that like a playbook out of a few different protocols? But like, for example, Virtuals did this really well. And by pairing a bunch of their agents with their token, they drove their token price up, created all sorts of liquidity, and it's a model a lot of people are following.
Yeah.
You could do something similar with Bluewhale.
We can, but the thing is like, like creating like agents, launching a token around agents is much easier to do than if you build a track record as a person.
Right.
And you're launching a token around the person. Now for me, I tell my team all the time when we're building products or we are building a company, it's for the long term. We're not here for the short term. So how do we build long-term credibility and understanding is by building products that are meant for the long term. Now the funniest benefit of this design, which is a one-to-one match between your identity and the token, is that, people are afraid of those short-term meme tokens pumping and being rugged, and then the team disappears, and you will never know who took your money. On Bluewhale, everybody will know. It's a one-to-one match between the person that has been on Bluewhale active and contributing his digital footprint, and he is now launching a token. If he would actually run away, you know everything about him.
It's like almost an identity piece there on Bluewhale.
That's right.
And so if you run away, you can't use Bluewhale again. So you're putting it all at risk, all the work that you've done.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what you design a product for the long term is about, where people are contributing, increasing the asset value of who they are, which I believe is how the normal work, kind of should work. And then over time, having this asset class that people can speculate, right? Like, for example, if I would be launching a token, they would see like over the many, many years that I've built startups, what I've achieved, right? They can check, they can go online, they can see what are the milestones that Han, went through for every single thing that he did in his life. And to be completely frank with you, that's the way you slowly build up momentum as a founder too, right? In the beginning, you have nothing, right? You need to maybe fake it until you make it kind of thing, right? But the thing is like over time, you're building momentum. And that's not just your company. As a person, as a personal brand, you're building momentum. Your momentum didn't exist because over the last 24 hours overnight, all of a sudden you became very famous, right? So over time, how you're building that momentum, it's all digital. How can you capture that into an asset class? That's Bluewhale.
Okay. You talk about this intelligence layer.
Yeah.
I've never really heard anyone use that term, a Web3 intelligence layer.
For sure.
What does that mean?
Good question. So the funny thing about blockchains is like people talk about layers a lot, about L1s, L2s, L3s, L4s. It's like a layered cake where you have more information sitting on top of it. Different layers have like different purposes. I believe that we see ourselves as a L3 or L4, whatever you want to call it. The L1s are the foundation of what everything is built on. The L2s are the acceleration, the cost efficiency, and a lot of the things that people are kind of adding into the L2s.
Yeah.
Now, what is an L3? What is an L4? In my opinion, an L3 and L4 is an orchestration, or you can call it an aggregation of the information that are, kind of like boiling up from the ground up. Why is it intelligent? It's because we are putting all the information that we need for AI to tap into from a resource perspective. That means like maybe compute, maybe storage, maybe data. From a orchestration, that means like pull the right information together in order to actually do the transaction, do that decision making. And then of course, from a scalability perspective, allowing them to be efficient, allowing it to be modular, allowing it to be fast and easy. Right? Okay. That's ultimately how I see a layer, why we exist, why we have this L3, so to speak. And we believe that without that layer, AI cannot autonomously operate on the blockchain. Okay. It doesn't work. We have a lot of competitors in this space that are focusing on one puzzle piece at a time, like decentralized compute, decentralized data, decentralized storage, right? There are a lot of players out there that do that. Now tell an AI agent or LLM to go on the blockchain, find all those resources, puzzle them together, and then do the thinking on top of that. Doesn't work. AI doesn't puzzle on blockchains. AI needs it to be ready, and that's why like centralized companies work so well, right? You have a lot of agents that you interact with or that you use on a daily basis, automating, removing some of the manual work. User experience, seamless.
Right.
How do you do that in a decentralized world where everything is broken out into pieces, right? Why is it so seamless to talk to ChatGPT? It's because OpenAI has built everything themselves. They have the data, they have the storage, they have the compute, they have everything in one. That's why like it's so seamless. Yeah. Now let's put that on blockchains. It doesn't work. That's why we are very early, right? Like AI is still early. I believe in the next 2 to 3 years, you will see tremendous growth in this market. And right now we have a niche market that is maybe quote unquote a little bit overhyped, but I think the future is bright for this space.
You mentioned a token earlier that you use internally, to keep people coming back, I guess to incentivize. Can you talk about what that looks like right now? And if and when that becomes a public token, how does that change? And then the utility. I mean, the utility is such an important part of a successful token these days. How do you think about that? And you engineer it? Is it a loyalty thing or a token now?
For sure. So the way our platform works is 2 ways. One, we have a point system that rewards your loyalty, your engagement, your activity, the contributions. And then we have our main token that is tied to our layer, which means, like when people are, agents are transacting or like doing queries on our layer, this is our gas token. Okay. Right? So the gas token is the Blue AI token that we're going to be launching on central exchanges that investors have poured in a lot of capital over the last couple of years, and that from a valuation perspective is very high.
Okay.
Now, from a consumer perspective, from a community perspective, what we did is we believe that the community, even though the market is a little bit muted, not as fast or kind of like scaling the altcoin bull run, we believe that the community should still be having their own point system. Okay. And the point system should reward the community. So what we did is we launched we called it Blub, like BLUP. Okay. Like for example, the sound that a fish makes or the whale makes.
Okay,
right?
Blub.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, it's blue points.
Okay.
Right? We turned the blue points into a token, did a fair launch at 0 FTV, gave everybody a really good opportunity to see the token rise.
Okay.
Because if you're starting at 0, how can you go down?
Yeah, okay.
You can't.
Yeah.
Right? But our gas token that is going to be for the long-term chain, for the long term of the company, that is sitting at 100 million FTV now.
Interesting.
So once that launches, there's clearly a lot of selling pressure, which is normal, right? But also a lot of buying pressure that could be taking it up, but it's long term.
Okay.
Right? And that's kind of like how we structured things.
Interesting. This dual token piece solves a few problems, right?
Yes.
So you can issue that Blub first and early and let people use it.
Correct.
But it doesn't have to punish or hurt or taint the valuation of the other one.
No.
And the other one isn't public yet, but your original investors own pieces of it.
Correct.
And then if at some point you'll float that, and then you have two.
Yeah, and then depending on how big the community grows, right? Like you see a lot of the meme tokens with large communities, right? But now you don't just have a meme token itself, even though Blub sounds kind of like a meme. But now you have also a community that is using it on a daily basis that sees value in holding it, right? So it's kind of like a combination of meme plus utility.
And you think people will own both in the future?
I think so, because like right now, a lot of people have Blue points. They have aggregated over the last couple of years a lot of Blue points. And we are giving them a choice, right? Do you want to use your Blue points to convert later on into the Blue AI airdrop? Or do you want to convert now into the Blub token and see where it goes?
Okay.
And that's a speculation, right? Like how people decide is not up to me. But the thing is like nobody can complain later and say like, oh, like should I have committed to Blub or I should have converted to Blue AI? It was your choice, right?
Talk to me about this DePIN play.
Yeah.
And a lot of people outside of Web3 don't even know what that means and don't know if it's important or not.
Yeah.
We've talked about these big centralized AIs, and on one hand, like you said, they're a one-stop shop and they can provide a very seamless service.
Yep.
But also there's a lot of compute involved, there's a lot of hardware involved, there's a lot of big questions about hardware now, and with trade wars, who can own it, who can't own it, who bought it on the sly, and then there's also the fact that it might not be able to be controlled, and we might want it decentralized. So why is it an important part of your business model, having this DePIN aspect?
For sure. So for us, when we are looking at like individual contribution, right, a lot of the AI DePIN plays that we have seen require you to have very heavy server farms, GPUs that are very, very expensive, right? And I understand, right? I even think like some of the decentralized compute platforms that you see today, they don't even have the computing power that could actually let LLMs to automatically or autonomously kind of transact and perform on the blockchain, right?
Right.
But the thing is like, what we saw is like, we can start smaller. Why don't we start smaller? And so our idea was, if a person has a smartphone and we use some of the compute on their smartphones, or some of the data that they have on their smartphones to contribute into our layer, then initially we are creating this ecosystem where you and I have a device in the pocket that is actually making passive income for me. It makes it simple, right? Yeah. I'm not saying that your device right now is solving AI's biggest problems today. Okay. I'm saying like you have become a part of an ecosystem that over long term, now think about like 2-3 years down the road, iPhone 6, like a 16 with the computing that they are coming out now, doing so many AI things all at once. Then think about like 17, 18, 19, and whatever we see down the road, how fast your mobile device is going to scale in terms of like computing capabilities.
Right. It also accelerates and accentuates the theme of decentralized because now there's not one gatekeeper.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
That's right. And then the data sits with you, right? I mean, like most of our digital footprint sits on our phones,
right.
By the way. It doesn't sit on our browser, it sits on the phone,
right?
You opting in, you owning it, right? If you feel like, like where's my data? It's not with Han. it's in your device, right?
Yeah. Talk to me about, some of the dystopian narratives of AI, because it's not as if you're playing into them, but if you ask me why I need to have decentralized AI, we have to maybe address them.
Yeah.
First of all, is most of the general public sleeping on the impact of AI on this planet, on the population?
Yeah, of course.
And are they also sleeping on the impact of centralized AI? Can you speak on that?
For sure. I mean, like, most of the people that are using AI on a daily basis, they are sleeping on the fact that AI could be very dangerous. I mean, like every technology is, right? Like it has good sides and bad sides, right? But the danger of what centralized AI can do is so scary to me, but most people ignore it. Similar to like how they ignore that on Facebook, their data is being used for advertisement. However, right, just because your data is used for advertisement, the worst thing that can happen to you is you actually buy the product that showed to you, right? But now think of it this way, like now, if all your data is owned by this AI company where the AI is training and learning and knowing you better than yourself, what are other things that they can do to you? And that's to me very, very scary, right? Because now we are not talking about like someone owning your data and all of a sudden you're buying like, like, I don't know, like a iPhone cover, right? Now it's like someone owning your data and that person, right? Whatever happens to that data could actually backfire because you're talking to this very, very intelligent outlet. I don't know what's going to happen long term, but I don't believe it's going to be free. It's not, just because I'm using this great, chat functionality that feels free, somehow I'm paying for it, but how, right? And that's kind of like what I feel the majority of the population is sleeping on. The danger, the risks of centralized, and of course, only the big guys being able to do that. I mean, like Elon Musk raising billions of dollars in order to build, like this X company for AI. Great. I mean, like who else can raise that much amount of money to do so, right? So I'm thinking about the small guys. I'm thinking about the 98% of the world. I'm thinking about how do we empower like a team of 2, a team of 5, a team of 10 that is building a new application, new agent or whatever, and wants to bring in intelligence, but they don't have the users, they don't have the data, they don't have the resources. That's what Bluewhale stands for. We want to democratize AI. And how do we do that? By building it on blockchains, on a layer, being able to orchestrate, being able to pull resources together, and being able to make it accessible to anybody, literally.
Are you seeing competitors out there right now? Do you see anybody that impresses you on the kind of blockchain AI space right now?
I mean, like I see a lot of competitors that are popping up here and there. And to be frank with you, I think, after done like 10 years of startup, you will always see competitors. You will always see people that try to copy you. You will see people pop up that raise new capital rounds for a product that sounds exactly the same like yours, right? Like to me nowadays, and this is probably comes with experience, is like I don't care anymore because they will pass, right? Because just because they did a press release doesn't mean they're actually going to execute to their promise, right? A lot of companies will die, right? Like 99% of the companies die over a range of like 3 to 5 years. So, I'm not too worried. But I think, some of the involvement that I've seen in the blockchain space that I'm very impressed about some of the, kind of activities and efforts the chains have been pushing, I'm very excited about. I'm also excited about some of the products that people are building around decentralized compute, decentralized data, decentralized storage, as well as decentralized verification. Initially it's about data verification. Now I've seen people being able to do model verification, right? Okay. Which I think is very interesting. I think, time will tell. If, 2 years from now, when we have the same conversation, we are sitting maybe in the bear market and looking over who actually is remaining, that's probably the most exciting, companies you should keep following.
So you're confident that you have the fortitude, the long-term mission, that daily execution, that you're not worried when you see people raise here and there, because you just know you're unique.
It's like the hype cycles. I don't really chase hype cycles either.
Yeah, right? That's your Web 2 experience.
Right, because the thing is like, I still remember when I raised my first round, it was right after the Luna collapse and right before the FTX collapse.
Yeah, mid 22.
Yeah, I was pitching AI on the blockchain. People thought I was crazy. I was like, why? Like, tell me another like a DeFi platform that we can do, right? And the thing is like, back then nobody was listening to me. Everybody is ignoring me. And then all of a sudden, like a year later or two, all of a sudden people are so hyped, and then everybody's slapping AI on their company. So, it comes and goes, right? But like I said, the companies that keep executing to the vision, they have a conviction. They may be a little bit contrarian in the beginning. Those are the ones that's going to make the biggest impact. I mean, like blockchain was very contrarian. In the beginning, like also just a small amount of people actually bought in and started working on it, right? Do you think if on day one the blockchain was so hyped and exciting that everybody said yes, that's the next big thing, that we would be where we are today? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. You mentioned enterprises that are also on Bluewhale. If I'm an enterpriser listening to this,
yes,
how do you pitch them and say you really want to be here? How do you make those choices as well?
For sure. So the enterprises come to us because they want to grow their users, they want to understand their users, they want to boost their users, and they want to talk to the chain to be able to understand what is the next big service or product or asset or whatever I should be launching that my users love?
Interesting.
Very simple.
Because it's an intelligence chain, you can ask it questions.
Correct. So very, very simple. Our go-to-market was so simple, right? Purely just like what, a team of like 10 data engineers over a month or 2 months would actually be able to deliver to you, where you still need to execute and grab the information and do stuff.
Peter Thiel took $500,000 and turned it into $1 billion using the exact same techniques we're using inside the investment club. He met a CEO, his name was Zuckerberg. He pitched him the deal and he said, okay, I'll give you $500,000. Mark went public and sold the shares to people like you. Well, what happened to Peter? Well, he exited and got a 2,300x return. The wealthy invest in early stage companies, folks. The public markets are for suckers. It's a rigged game. By the way, this happens in crypto as well. It's called pre-sale tokens. This is Solana. Does anybody know this chain? They sold pre-sale tokens for 4 cents. And you can see the date on there, April 5th, 2018. Look at Solana today, folks. That thing's up over 1,000x. The media and Wall Street and all these hype people get you to buy the top. Meanwhile, they put their clients in at the bottom and they use you for liquidity to make their clients rich. You can play this same game. You just have to have the financial education and the deal flow. That's it.
AI can do today and automate. Because automation is probably the first thing that AI finds a great use case around. Okay. To automate all the manual work that we need to do, so we are left with more time to think more strategic, think more planning, think more long term. And I think that's what we attacked from day one. Okay. Right? Help those enterprises understand who their users are, find more of those users on chain, be able to talk directly to the chain using our chat to understand what drives those guys. Like the same question you're asking me, right? Like you can ask our chat on Bluwhale to understand, right? So we attracted protocols, DeFi platforms, games, L1s, L2s that are very curious about like, hey, what are those, I don't know how many million wallets on our chain doing? Which next project should we invest in to build on us? And who should we attract so that our chain grows from that specific market position, right? I mean, very reasonable questions, but have you tried asking them without having a huge data team that does, like the month and months of back and forth? You can't. On our side, you can do it from day one.
Is that one of the reasons you think you've had such amazing user growth, is the enterprises offering services on your chain?
That's a really good question. I would say, when I came into Web3, I noticed that a lot of the business models were very simplified, which means like one-sided, right? In Web3, 2, you see much more complex, much more sophisticated business models. And then of course, building a two-sided or multi-sided marketplace is so painful because you need to not just manage growing one side, but you need to be able to manage both sides.
It's like a recipe, getting it exactly right.
It's really, really hard, right? That's why nobody tries to do that, right? But in my opinion, both sides are benefiting from each other. That means enterprises coming here that find all the information, talk to the information, grows the information. More users I have here that are contributing, the more enterprises are coming. So both sides need to, it's like Uber, right? Like the drivers and the people that want to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, so you're building both.
Correct.
What is this holy grail you've talked about, or where are you trying to get to? What does this look like in 5 years' time in your mind?
Great question. So for me, the holy grail is not to be a Web3 blockchain company. The holy grail for me is to be able to attract both Web2 and Web3 companies to come. And the idea around Bluwhale was actually created when my co-founder and I were working on a Web2 AI company before. We realized that the only way to train our AI to be smart enough is if we convince one of the big guys to give us the data so we can train on it, right? And so that means serving the top 2% of the world. Now, the small, medium-sized businesses, I don't care if they are in Web3 or Web2, they still struggle with the same problem. Let's say they have 10,000 monthly active users. Do they have enough data to do any type of AI around those users? Are they able to ask the chat to ask like, hey, what does my user want? Are they able to provide personalized like services or products that they can design around it? Probably not. It's too little data. You can't tell, right? Why don't we build Bluwhale so that all the SMBs are sitting on top of you, pooling information, pooling resources together, and betting on the fact that if we pool as a collective.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.
Most people will never see this opportunity. Dubai luxury transformation projects have historically delivered 40 to 90% annual returns. That is incredible. These were once reserved only for insiders with access. I spent 15 years on Wall Street and I learned this. The biggest returns always go to the people who get the call first. Now, you finally can. We've just received a brand new project with major upside potential. Allocations move fast. Click the link, apply now, and speak to my team. This is your chance to see what others never will.